the Big Apple. In the Big Apple, I met a taller, much taller French lady. She was really beautiful. She was quite old though. We really hit it off. We ended up going back to her place. We didn't have sex though. It was more of like a Louis C.K. kind of thing, just in front of her. As I climaxed, I realised that I would never again be allowed near the Statue of Liberty. Okay, speaking of America, our next contestant, no, our next act of the evening is Porter. Please put your hands together.
Yeah. So I know what you're thinking. Wow, this kid's forehead is shining brighter than my future. And the worst, it makes me look really American because I have this permanent McDonald's M etched into my hairline. And no, I'm not loving it. Honestly, with the amount of oil that's here, I'm surprised the US hasn't tried to invade yet, okay? So, all right, let's get this shit started. You know what? I brought this just for tonight because some of you people need to know when to laugh. So, pull this out. Okay. So I'm going to try some new things tonight. I think as a comedian, it's a good thing to try new things because, you need to expand your horizons. So I'm going to try a little bit of crowd work. Normally one of the things I love to do to insult people is to break them down to a single bad fashion choice that they have made. Whatever you say, mustache. See? And what I've done there is I have taken a fashion choice that they have made that is stupid, breaking them down to that stupid fashion choice, implying that they themselves are stupid. This is humiliating, you see. And so what I'm going to do here, what's your name, man?
Lucas.
Lucas. Whatever you say, hunting cap. See? Now, Lucas, fair is fair. So I'm going to have you do it to me now. Now take a look at me and find a bad fashion choice. There are many. And just say, whatever you say, fashion choice. You had one job, Lucas.
Whatever you say, horn-rimmed glasses.
Don't come in with that weak shit, bro. So, let's see here. Now, shit's not even lit anymore. Try this again. Now, for a lot of us in the room, we've tried to learn Chinese, and Chinese is, of course, a difficult language, but English is, a particularly difficult one. So I sympathize for our language learners in the room, both Chinese and Western. So for me, it's like, I used to have a Chinese girlfriend, and she'd sleep over sometimes, and I can't even tell you how many times she asked me if I'd clean my bed shits. Fuck you guys, that was funny. I used to work at this supermarket, a Chinese supermarket back in the States. And I did this to learn learn more Chinese before I came to China. And I learned that Qianbi and Jianbi are very different words. Some of the Chinese are ahead of me. And I asked, Qianbi means pencil. Jianbi means something else. And I asked my coworker, there we go. I asked my coworker one day if she had a pencil. She does have a cunt. So, not a good language mix-up to have. And, let's see here. I teach English part-time here in China, because who doesn't? And some of the times that I walk into the classrooms, these kids have never seen a foreigner in their life. And I walked into this classroom one time, and this little girl took one look at me and immediately burst into tears. I have a tear in my stomach from internally laughing that hard. That was the funniest shit I've ever seen in China. Because I had to imagine what her thought process was. It was like, hey, you got a new teacher coming in today. He's gonna be really fun. Oh, great. That's awesome. And then I walk in and she sees those sunken eyes and that big nose. What the fuck is that? That is not a human. What is that? That's not a human. And there's this phenomenon. I don't know if any other foreigners have seen here in China. There's a sort of phenomenon that I've seen where you're out in public and they see your white face. They do that classic Chinese double look. They're just kind of scanning their environment. They're like, you know what I mean? You've seen this before, all the foreigners here. And they see you and they start speaking like horrifically broken English with their kid. Has anybody else seen this? Yeah. And I don't know what the fantasy is here. Like, what do they think is going to happen? I'm going to run up to them and be like, holy shit! You speak fucking English? Carl, come over here. Holy fuck. You speak English? And for those of us learning Chinese, not lit again, fuck it. For those of us learning Chinese, we know the word for that, which is nega, right? But when you say that word quickly, it sounds like something else. So there was a time that I had a new friend that came to Hefei, and he was black, and he didn't speak a lick of Chinese, never heard the language before in his life, and I'm introducing him to a Chinese friend. But the word nega sounds really bad when you're trying to recall something like that. I had trouble recalling what school he worked at. He was not flattered by my description of him. There's a game that I have accidentally discovered here in China. I had a lot of WeChat accounts. Some of you guys know this. I do photography and video here in Hefei, so I'm in the business world. I'm very involved in that. And I had a lot of WeChat accounts, but sometimes I forget to add the remark on who this person is, and I completely forget. And these are always the people that contact me to have dinner or go out to some business dinner later on. Now this is what I have called Chinese person roulette. Because I have to go to public, and when they see me, I have to act like I recognize who they are. Like, hey, pal. How's it going, man? It's been such a long time. They're like, I met you yesterday. Yeah, I mean, it just feels so long. And it's like, you know how when you put something in the microwave, and then 2 minutes later the microwave dings, and you're just sitting there like, what the fuck did I just put in the microwave? It's kind of like that. Past you gifted something to present you. That's why they call it the present. Introspective. Now, I go out to a lot of these business dinners, and sometimes they serve very bizarre foods. There was one night I went out, we were having hot pot, and they were serving this, they had this meat sitting on the plate. And this meat did not look like normal meat. And I asked the guy, I said, what is that right there? And I asked him in Chinese, because my language isn't that great. And he goes, all I could decipher was something butthole. Excuse me? And he goes no, you should try it. It tastes good. And I'm like, you know what, Shencheng, you are what you eat. So I would say if you're eating another animal's anus, you're probably a shitty person. We'll just say that. Because if you are what you eat, that definitely makes me a pussy. I'll do one last bit tonight. Now, I think the thing that I dislike the most about living in China is the spitting, the copious spitting. Like, going into the back alleys here is like listening to a bunch of zombies rise from the dead. It's just like, you know? Oh, fuck y'all, that was hilarious. It's like listening to a bunch of zombies rise from the dead. And I was on this bus one day. Get ready, because this shit is far from over. I was on this bus one day, and there was a woman sitting across from me on the bus that is just older than the Great Wall. And she loads around into the chamber, just full on like. She pulls out a clear plastic bag that, from the looks of it, contained the contents of the rest of her day. She fires this shot straight into the bag, just full poof. Now, normally in China, the spitting isn't too bad because you don't have to mentally register the impacts like that, like, you know what I mean? That happened this time. I have never made this sound involuntarily before or since, but I immediately was just like, ugh, like, that was the most disgusting thing I've ever seen in my life. And yeah, so any of the foreign guys in the room that are thinking about going after a menu, just wait until she's in front of your foreign family when she's like 60 years old, hawking cho tofu into these clear plastic bags. Anyway, you guys have a good night.